of what's going on this Saturday, let me give you some more numbers and stats. The pay-per-view, if you were to want to purchase it and watch it in your living room at your house via your satellite provider or cable TV provider or whatever you have, if you were to want to do that, you would have to spend $100. It set the pay-per-view record for most expensive single pay-per-view event at $99.95 or 99 cents. Basically $100. And if you just want, that's for the high definition one, mind you. If you want it in standard definition on your TV, you can save $10 or $20. You're still spending $80 or $90 on it. But still, one way or the other, if you want this pay-per-view, you're spending $80 to $100 to watch this fight if you want to watch it in the privacy and comfort of your own home. Now, I'm sure there will be a ton of people, myself possibly, I don't know, I haven't locked in the plans just yet, but I believe that a lot of people will be out and about going to their local Buffalo Wild Wings or other sports bar, entertainment themed venue and watching the fight. I'm sure a lot of these places will also charge an admission to get in and watch. I do know that there are some that, in my local area at least, I know of one that is offering the fight, will have the fight, and they are offering it for free. They're not charging anything to come be in the door and watch it. So those are out there. You just might have to look hard for them. But you might have to be willing to pay $10, $15 to get into one of these places to watch the fight. And if you're not, don't cry about it. Like, seriously, that's not that much. That's nothing. That's nothing. This is one of the biggest fights to happen in over a decade probably in the sport of boxing. And if you're a fan of it and you're interested in it, paying $10, $15, $20, $5, whatever, shouldn't make a difference in whether you're going to actually watch it or not. That's ridiculous. And then if you were fortunate enough to purchase a ticket or wanted to purchase a ticket, they started, the cheapest ticket to actually be at the fight in attendance started at $1,500, $1,500, the cheapest ticket. Now on second hand, those are going for over $4,000 right now if you're still looking. And that's, again, the lowest level, most affordable ticket you could have gotten or could currently get. So the money that this thing is generating it's mind-boggling. That's right, when you get your thoughts all trapped in a bottle, up in your mind. But the overall estimated revenue that, like I said, they're estimating to generate from this event is, get ready for it, $500 million. That was my best impression for the Dr. Evil and Austin Powers music that plays in the background. But yeah, $500 million is what this fight is expected to generate in revenue. It could supersede that if you took into account secondhand markets. You double, triple, quadruple, 10 times that. And I won't even get into the revenue that would be that they would stand to make and generate in a possible rematch, which I have heard in those circumstances, experts have estimated nearly $1 billion in revenue for that one as well. Sorry, I just couldn't help myself. I love Austin Powers and Dr. Evil. But anyway, there are all the financial numbers on the fight for you, all the dollar sign numbers, and it should show you how epically huge, how massive of an event this really truly is. And boxing could not be any more desperate for something like this than it currently is. People are calling it the fight that could save boxing. I hate to go that far with it, but in all honesty, it very possibly could, or at least maybe not save, but revitalize, rejuvenate, lead a resurgence in? Very, very possible. And if not for the long haul, at least for, the immediate future, which boxing will take it. Whatever they get out of it, they'll take it. They haven't had attention like this in, like I said, probably over a decade. So, when Tyson bit Holyfield's ear off was probably the last time anybody was really talking about a big boxing fight with two big-name boxers. But anyway, let's get to some tail of the tape, factual information on the fighters, give you my hope or pick, and then we will put balls on fire out and move into the largest meat that I could possibly have to offer anyone. So, anyway, here we go. First, we will go over some facts for Floyd Money Mayweather. Now, Floyd Mayweather is 38 years old. He is a right-handed boxer, or he usually fights right-handed. However, he is said to have 2 or 3 different fighting styles. He can fight left-handed. I want to say I even read on Wikipedia that he is naturally left-handed. However, he prefers to fight right-handed, depending on what handed his opponent is. So, you've got that. He's got a little bit ambidextrous of a fighter, but he's usually a right-handed fighter. At least that's what I'm told. That's what I've read. I don't know. Who knows? I mean, can you trust the internet? Maybe. But anyway, Floyd's record is 47 wins, 0 losses, and 0 draws or ties, or no contests. He has an absolutely perfect, unblemished record, and I will bring that up in just a little bit when we close out the segment. Of those 47 wins, 26 came by knockout, so he is not necessarily a power knockout puncher, but he can do it. He has done it. He is 5'8", and they will both be weighing in, like I said earlier, at 147 pounds is the maximum weight for this fight. Floyd Mayweather has a 72-inch reach, and as I also said earlier, he is currently the WBA welterweight champion at 147 pounds and the WBC super welterweight champion at 154 pounds. Now, the tail of the tape for the other fighter, Mr. Manny Pacquiao. He is 36 years old, even though he seems older than Mayweather. If you were to, I think everybody gets the feel like Pacquiao is the older, more washed-up fighter in this fight, if you were to have to apply those words to one of these two fighters. But in all honesty, he's 2 years younger than Mayweather. So he does, in fact, have youth on his side. He is left-handed, which I have read many things that suggest that Floyd Mayweather does not like fighting against left-handed fighters, and that is one of the primary reasons that this fight took so long to happen, is that Floyd just prefers not to fight against left-handed fighters in general, not just specifically Manny Pacquiao. Manny may have youth on his side. He also has experience on his side. That's crazy how a guy could have both youth and experience on his side in a fight. Manny's record professionally is 57 wins, 5 losses, and 2 draws. So that is 10 more wins than Floyd Mayweather. However, he has 5 more losses than Floyd and 2 more draws than Floyd does. Of his 57 wins, 38 of Manny Pacquiao's came by knockout. So he is much more of a knockout puncher than Floyd Mayweather. That is not to say he is a big-time knockout puncher, when it's still only a little over half, about 2/3 of his wins have come via knockout, as opposed to Floyd Mayweather's about 50% of his wins have come via knockout. So again, neither one of these guys big knockout punchers, big knockout fighters, but Manny Pacquiao definitely the better of the two at that specific element. Now, Manny Pacquiao is an inch and a half shorter than Floyd Mayweather Jr. Manny measures out at 5'6.5". He also has, and this is a big one if you're a boxing fan or know anything about boxing, Manny Pacquiao has a 67-inch reach, 5 inches less than Floyd Mayweather's 72-inch reach. So that is a huge advantage for Floyd Mayweather right there. And with Floyd's style of being such a speed boxer, having quick hands, quick feet, and as good at defense as you can get, knowing that Pacquiao needs to work inside and utilize his power that we can see he's got a little bit more of than Mayweather does, is going to be very difficult for him to work inside and be able to apply that because of the 5-inch reach difference, where Mayweather should be able to keep him away pretty much as he wants. You would think that's what the numbers suggest. Now, as I did mention earlier, Manny Pacquiao is also bringing a title into this fight and putting it on the line. He is the World Boxing Organization's World Welterweight Champion at the moment. And a fun little fact about Manny, he is the only boxer ever in the history of boxing to have 8 championships in 8 different weight classes. Floyd Mayweather has 11 championships that he has won throughout his career, but only in 5 different weight classes. No man other than Manny Pacquiao has ever won 8 titles in 8 different weight classes. So that should give you another good example of how smart and good of an all-around and versatile fighter that Manny Pacquiao is. Now, lastly, we'll look to just a tiny bit of their previous fight history leading up to this fight, and then I will give you my final thoughts on it, and we will put balls on fire out and move on to the giant meat of the night. So, back in 2012, 2013, Manny Pacquiao hit a little bit of a rough patch, started losing some of his fights that I mentioned in those 5 losses. He took 11 months off in 2013 from boxing, and that last loss was to Marquez, by the way. And then he returned, like I said, after an 11-month absence after losing to Marquez. He returned, and he won, and I believe it was Marquez that he beat via unanimous decision. Let's see, it might have been a majority decision. Maybe I didn't note that one. I'm not sure. But then he won again by unanimous decision in April of 2014, and again by unanimous decision in November of 2014. So he has been looking very, very good, very dominant, very back to the Manny of old in his last 3 fights since taking a leave of absence in 2013 for 11 months after hitting a dry spell. So if you want to bring up, well, Pacquiao lost some fights and didn't look good here and there, that was a couple years ago. And everything that he's done within the last 2 years, he has looked very impressive and very dominant. Now, on the flip side, for Floyd Mayweather, there ain't a whole lot to talk about because, as I mentioned, he's never lost and never even tied, had a draw in a match. However, in his last 3 matches, 2 of them were the one in September of 2013 and then again in May of 2014. He won both of those just by a majority decision, not a unanimous decision. And then his most recent fight, which was a rematch of the guy he won beat by major decision in May, he won that one here in September by unanimous decision. So he's got his last 3 fights, he's got unanimous decision in a rematch, mixed decision, if you go backwards in time. Or not mixed decision, majority decision. So if you go back in time and want to look at recent struggles or recent success, Manny Pacquiao has put on a better performance in his last 3 fights than Floyd Mayweather has. And that's, you can't, unless you watched every second of those fights and are a boxing expert, you couldn't really argue that the other way. The facts are what they are. I'm merely looking them up and repeating them. But then one could also make the argument, if they wanted to and were well informed enough, that Floyd Mayweather was fighting tougher competition in those recent fights than Manny Pacquiao was, and I wouldn't know whether to say that they were right or wrong or not. I couldn't really tell you. But that would be the really only other argument you could make. So, whoop-de-doo, what does it all mean, Basil? Let's get down to it. The heavy favorite in this fight, well, I shouldn't say heavy favorite, but somewhat of a heavy favorite. The favorite, the unquestionable favorite, at least, that's safe, in this fight is Floyd Mayweather. If you simply look at what each fighter brings to the table, it's hard to argue that Floyd Mayweather will be beaten. Very, very hard to argue that. However, if anybody can do it, it's Manny Pacquiao. And the one thing that I want everybody to remember is the absolute best outcome in this whole situation in my opinion, is a draw. If we get a split decision or a